Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the biggest threat to the world economy isn't war, isn't inflation, isn't recession, but something far more dangerous? Debt? Not your credit card debt, not your mortgage debt, but the debt of entire nations, the United States, China, Japan, India, the world's largest powers, the world's biggest economies, the world's most influential countries, all drowning in a tsunami of debt so massive, so uncontrollable, so terrifying that it could shape the next 50 years of global politics, economics, and power. You've heard fragments of this story. You know pieces of the truth. But today, you're going to see the full picture, a picture that governments do not want ordinary people to understand. Because once you understand what I'm about to reveal, you'll never look at the world economy the same way again. Welcome to the Global Debt Decode, where we break down the 36 trillion American debt, the 50 trillion Chinese shadow debt, the 264% Japanese debt monster, and India's fast-growing developmental debt, and expose the real story behind the world's biggest economic bubble. Before we begin, hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, and buckle up, because this is not a normal video. This is a wake-up call. Let's start with the heart of global finance, the giant, the powerhouse, the United States of America, the land that invented the stock market revolution, the land of Silicon Valley, the world's reserve currency holder, and ironically, the most indebted country on planet Earth. Today, America's national debt is over $36 trillion. Let that sink in. $36 trillion. If every American citizen, from newborn babies to retirees, were asked to pay this off, each person would owe around $100,000. The question is, how did the wealthiest country in human history become the biggest borrower in human history? Who is lending money to America? And why is the US dollar still the world's strongest currency? Let's decode it. 1. The endless war machine. For decades, America's biggest expense wasn't healthcare, wasn't education, wasn't infrastructure. It was war. Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, counter-terror operations across 80-plus countries. According to Brown University's study, the US has spent over $8 trillion on wars since 2001. $8 trillion. War is expensive, not only in lives but in dollars. Every aircraft carrier, every missile, every soldier deployed overseas is paid for with money America doesn't have, so it borrows. 2. The 2008 financial meltdown. When Wall Street collapsed in 2008, the US government printed trillions to save the banks, save companies, and save the economy. Loans and bailouts became the oxygen of the economy. Trillions printed, trillions borrowed, trillions injected. The debt balloon expanded. 3. The COVID-19 explosion, a debt tsunami. The pandemic was worse. Stimulus checks, corporate bailouts, healthcare costs, unemployment benefits. In just 2 years, America borrowed more than it borrowed in decades. It was the fastest debt accumulation in US history. 4. Tax cuts. The silent debt multiplier. You might expect that a country drowning in debt would increase revenue, but instead, America cut taxes several times, reducing government income while increasing government spending. It's like quitting your job and increasing your lifestyle expenses while borrowing money from your neighbor. 5. So why isn't America collapsing? This is the billion-dollar question. If any country had this level of debt, its currency would collapse, its economy would be destroyed, its government would lose control. So why not the United States? Because of one secret, the US dollar is the world's reserve currency. The world trades oil in dollars. Countries buy American bonds. Global banks store dollars. International trade flows in dollars. This gives America unlimited borrowing power. The world needs US dollars, and the US can simply print them. This is the exorbitant privilege economists talk about. But remember, every privilege eventually ends, and cracks are beginning to appear. We'll return to that later. Now let's move from the world's biggest borrower to the world's manufacturing superpower. China, the factory of the planet. Officially, China's government debt is $14 trillion, but unofficially, China's real debt is estimated at $40 to $50 trillion once you include local government hidden loans, state-owned enterprise debt, real estate developer debt,
shadow banking networks, infrastructure debt for ghost cities. Yes, ghost cities. Entire cities built, with skyscrapers, highways, malls, but no people. China built more buildings in 10 years than the US built in 100 years, but much of it was funded by borrowed money. 1. The real estate apocalypse. For 20 years, China's economy depended on real estate. Families invested their life savings in apartments. Developers borrowed insane amounts. Local governments sold land for revenue. Then the bubble burst. Evergrande, China's largest developer, collapsed with over $300 billion in debt. Country Garden followed. Dozens of companies defaulted. Millions of apartments remain unfinished. Millions of families lost money. Local governments are bankrupt. Youth unemployment over 20%. This isn't a slowdown. This is a crisis. 2. Debt trap diplomacy. Backfires. China's Belt and Road Initiative was designed to create global influence, give loans to smaller countries, build ports, highways, airports, gain political control. But many countries couldn't repay, so China seized assets. Sri Lanka, Hambantota Port, Pakistan, Gwadar, Africa, dozens of strategic infrastructures. But now the model is collapsing. Countries are refusing Chinese loans. Projects are failing. China's global image is damaged. The debt trap is now trapping China itself. 3. Is China heading for a collapse? Economists warn, if China's real estate bubble continues collapsing, if youth unemployment stays high, if the debt burden becomes unmanageable, China could face its worst economic crisis in modern history, not tomorrow, but soon. And when China shakes, the world shakes with it. Next, the world's most fascinating economic mystery. Japan, the nation with more debt than any major economy, yet no collapse, no crisis, no panic. Japan's debt is over $10 trillion, which is 264% of its GDP. That means Japan owes more than double the value of everything it produces. So why isn't Japan bankrupt? Let's decode the mystery. 1. Japan owes money, mostly to itself. Unlike America, Japan borrows primarily from Japanese citizens, Japanese corporations, Japanese pension funds, Japanese banks. Over 90% of Japan's debt is internal. The world can't attack Japan's currency. Foreigners can't dump Japanese bonds. Japan's debt is like borrowing money from your own family. Yes, you have to repay, but no one is going to take away your house. 2. The 1990 collapse and the lost decades Japan had its own real estate bubble, long before China. In the 1980s, Tokyo real estate was so expensive that the Imperial Palace was valued higher than all of California. Then the bubble burst in 1990. Stock markets crashed, real estate collapsed. Japan spent 30 years trying to recover. The government kept borrowing, but the economy remained stagnant. 3. Deflation, the silent monster. Japan's problem isn't inflation, it's the opposite. Deflation. Prices fall, people stop spending, companies stop hiring, wages freeze, debt becomes a tool to keep the economy alive. Japan's story is a warning for the whole world. Sometimes debt doesn't explode violently. Sometimes it slowly freezes an economy for decades. India, the world's fastest growing major economy. Unlike the US, China, and Japan, India's debt story is very different. India's external debt is about $630 billion. Total debt around 83% of GDP. But the purpose, structure, and sustainability of India's debt is what sets it apart. 1. India borrows to build, not to destroy, while the US borrows for war. China borrows for ghost cities. Japan borrows for survival. India borrows for infrastructure, highways, bullet trains, railways, airports, digital India, manufacturing zones, defense modernization, renewable energy. This is productive debt, debt that creates future income, debt that builds assets, debt that strengthens the nation. 2. Strong growth rate, 6 to 7%. India has one of the highest growth rates in the world. High growth makes debt manageable. A growing economy can repay loans faster. 3. Massive forex reserves, $600+ billion. India has one of the strongest forex buffers in the world. This protects India during global shocks, while countries like Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Argentina collapsed due to low reserves.